He forfeited.
We're missing a,
We're not.
yeah. Peter?
He's out.
Is he okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're at the hour. Like, gonna call the March 2nd meeting of the Casa Grande Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Please join me for the pledge. Pledge allegiance. Would you call the roll?
Member Aldrete,
Here.
Member Vanderhayden,
Here?
Member Hubbard,
Here.
Member Peters, Member Estrada,
Here.
Vice Chair
Here.
Garza, sorry, and Chairman Benedict.
Here. Any changes to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, commissioners, seen the minutes. Any changes, corrections, comments? Hearing none, how about a motion?
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, second,
Second.
thank you. Motion in the second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have one action on the consent agenda. The consent agenda is consider routine matters will be enacted in one motion, one roll call vote. If anybody from the commission or from the public would like to pull it, we can pull it from the consent agenda and run it through with a regular presentation. Anybody want to pull anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, commissioners? I need a motion. I need a motion. to
Chairman, I'll make a motion
approve. Thank you.
to approve the consent agenda, item E1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Member Aldrete,
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden.
Yes.
Member Hubbard,
Yes.
Member Estrada,
Yes.
Vice Chair Garza,
Aye.
Chairman Benedict.
Yes. All right. We're on to new business. Hold a public hearing, consider a request by Xavier Rodriguez for conditional use permit for allowing commercial recreation for X Factor Soccer in a B2 zoning district. Jacqueline?
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. This request is for a conditional use permit for commercial recreation within the B2 zoning district located at 2076 North Treckle Road. It's approximately 2.53 acres and consists of 2 fenced outdoor soccer fields, approximately 5,806 square feet with turf. The fields will have LED lighting. Hours will be from 4 to 9 during the weekdays and 8 a.m. to 9 on the weekends. The site meets parking requirements, and there will also be landscaping along Treckle and Avenue of Cotton to the north of the site. And the minor site plan and landscape plan are in review, and those will be completed administratively. With regards to the conditional use permit review criteria, all criteria has been evaluated and covered within the staff report. Staff finds that all review criteria has been met. The site is adequate in size, will be fenced, meets the parking requirements. There'll be landscaping along Treckle and Avenue Cotton, as noted earlier. There'll be no adverse effects on the adjacent properties, and we have restricted the hours to 10 p.m. to ensure this. And then, as noted, B2 is an appropriate zoning within the community corridor, and commercial recreation is allowed with the CUP in the B2. Regarding notification, staff and the applicant met all the requirements per city code, and I did not receive any comments to date on this request. So with that, staff moves to approve the conditional use permit and associated conditional use resolution for DSA 22-00151 for commercial recreation facility, subject to the following condition. Happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Commissioners?
Chairman, I have a question, Jacqueline. The parking requirements, are they parking using the parking that's existing on the other property, or how is that working?
So, that's a good question. So the parcel boundary line is approximately, I show that, here. And so all their parking is within their parcel, and they will be restriping it to meet the requirements.
So the folks that use the gym that's
Yes.
there to the east of them, they should really be parking closer to the building if
Yeah, so
are.
they have a parking lot up to the, I think, show something in there. To the north,
Oh, I see.
over here too.
Okay.
And there will be, and they do have parking right here as well, so there will be a cross-access easement for them to access this parking over here as well.
Okay. And then I just had a question, is there gonna be a fee to use the soccer field, or how does that work?
That would be a question for the applicant.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, any other questions? Commissioners? All right. Okay, so the applicant, their representative, could you come up and address the commission? Please give us your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Xavier Rodriguez. My address is 1687 East Elegante Drive, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Great. Anything you'd like to add? to the
No,
presentation?
sir.
Okay.
I think everything's covered.
I have a question. Mr.
Yes,
Bridger.
absolutely.
We're going to have a lot of teams there. We're going to have youth teams and adult teams. And there's no restrooms over there being included in this. Are they going to use the Powerhouse Fitness or what?
No, sir. For the time being, we will be utilizing porta potties or temporary bathrooms. During the next phase of the project, which obviously I would submit permits and stuff for that as well, we would have more permanent bathrooms. But the final plan for this project, my phase 3 of the project, is going to be to enclose the entire site within an industrial steel building. So that'll be later in the future, permits later, right? But for now, yeah, we're going to be utilizing just porta potties that accommodate enough people per parking.
Okay.
Are
Thank
these
you for that.
regular size soccer fields? I don't know what.
No, they're smaller soccer fields. So a regular soccer field is 11 a side, so 11 teams on each side at any given moment. This is more 6 versus 6, so it's tiny. It's 60 feet by 100 feet, so it's small.
Okay.
Okay.
You good? John Hyden, good?
How is the function of how you use it? So do you subscribe to a membership service? Or?
Yes, we will be running membership service for both leagues and just youth training.
And it's just a key card access to get into the field, or
No,
will
no.
somebody be there monitoring during the hours that you're operating?
That's correct, yeah. We'll have somebody there.
There's a 10-foot fence I see for the inside the actual, around the fields themselves.
Yes, sir.
And then the exterior one out towards the street is 6 foot. Is that correct?
Correct.
And there's going to be a ditch along Treckle
Yes, I believe so. That's for the drainage
for drainage?
Basin.
It'd be a basin, not necessarily.
basin. Yeah.
So, okay. So how close, because I don't have my glasses. I'm confessing now. The soccer fields, how close are they to Treckle Road?
They have a good distance to Treckle.
They are?
Yeah, they're a good distance away. Just right upon entering the parcel there, it's right at the beginning, so there's still a lot of land left to the west of the fields.
Okay. I think this is a great idea, I like it. But my only concern was the soccer balls, how close the fields are to the street. That was my only concern.
Yeah, so with indoor soccer typically, or anytime it's small-sided soccer.
Okay.
You use a special ball that's a little bit heavier, so that heavier ball keeps from going in the air.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
okay. See?
See?
See? There we go.
Good job.
Did not know.
Learn something new every day.
We can all go home now.
All right. Any other questions, Commissioner?
I'm good.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. I'd open the public portion of the meeting. Is anybody from the public like to address this issue, please come forward. Seeing none, I'll close the public portion and bring it back to the commission.
I think this is a really good idea, but I'm not so sure if this is the right spot for that, what you're thinking about doing right there. It's the congestion on Treckle with the apartments and everything, and with restrooms not until, like you said, phase 3 and stuff. I'm just not sure if that's the right spot for that to be in that location. I think it's a great idea, but I'm just
No,
not
I
sure if
know.
that's the right spot to have it.
What are you doing? Being the chairman?
So I understand your concern, sir, but like I said, with the direction that the fields are heading, anytime that there's a shot on goal or anything like that, it's going to be heading from east to west. All the traffic would be on the west. I'm sorry, from north to south. All the traffic would be heading on the west side. Typically, in soccer, you don't necessarily shoot towards the side of the field or anything. You shoot towards the goal. I don't think there's going to be any more traffic being led into this pad because the gym is already busy as it is. If anything, I think it's going to bring a lot more business to the gym. I think both the gym and the fields coexisting together I think it's going to be beneficial to not just the community, but for the health of adults, youth, everything. And then, like you said, with the restrooms, I'm going to have enough restrooms there to accommodate how many people will be in attendance at any given moment. The restrooms will be ADA. They will meet ADA requirements as well.
And where would they be on this?
On there, I believe they're all the way into the,
They're
Right.
located
yeah,
Right in there?
yeah.
And so right now, the gym, they can use these spots too?
Use what spots?
I apologize, the parking spots?
Yes, right
So-
now they're utilizing it, but
But
Yeah,
will they-
currently so this is the parcel boundary right here. And so they do have parking here and as well as to the north of the gym.
So how many parking spots do we have?
And so the gym meets their parking requirements and this site meets their parking requirements
And
with
how-
the current,
Okay,
which is,
like 60, there's 63 spots?
yeah, I believe 62.
So little.
Okay.
63. And
Yes.
I would say it was approximately 100 feet from Treckle, looking at the site plan. To the fields.
100 feet? I would think if the parking was in front and everything in back, I know that's not possible, but I just. It just seems so close to the road.
100 feet? 150 feet with a 10-foot fence
It's 6 foot.
and a 6-foot fence, then beyond that.
Just,
And a heavier ball.
I know, and a heavier ball, I get the
The
bigger ball portion. No, I like it, so who would be using this, like, just, like, youth?
youth, adults, and to be fair, all the city parks probably are closer to the road than this would be. So if you think of Carr McNabb Park on the south field, there's just a 6-foot fence and then roads adjacent to every side of the park. And that's a big field, so they actually kick the ball hard in the air,
True.
and that goes into the road all the time. And
Right, that's why I was
so
thinking
this
that.
is less probability for that to happen.
And a heavier ball, so that's cool.
So
And
it's
there will
gonna-
be landscaping too, don't forget, along
That's true.
Treckle as well as the road to the north.
It's going to be used mainly for like drills and training, right? You're not going to have games here.
There will be games. There
There
will be
will be
games, but they're
games.
small-sided games. So,
Oh, okay.
like I said, It's nothing where anybody's competing for a World Cup or anything like that.
No, I'm
Everybody-
thinking about the parking, and
Yeah.
you know, as far as everybody coming to watch.
Yeah,
There's
there-
no seating for folks to, is there gonna be
Yes,
bleachers?
there will be seating, yeah. There will
Oh,
be
okay.
bleachers.
Oh, right over here, okay, on the east side.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh, the west side, excuse
Uh,
me.
Another reason to not shoot the ball towards the, towards the sideline.
Well, at least somebody block.
Yeah.
You don't want to hit anybody in the crowd.
Grandma, get it.
I didn't say anything yet.
All right, I think the commission's still talking here. What are we doing here, folks?
Okay.
How are we doing here, folks? Any more discussion?
I think it's a great idea, especially being right there next to Powerhouse. It'll be symbiotic to one another and helping out. So I'd like to make a motion.
Very good, we're listening.
Make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit and associated conditional use of DSA -22 -00151 for the commercial recreation facilities of Exhibit C, subject to the following conditions set by staff.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
Oh,
Woo woo.
go ahead. You got it.
Pick one. Go ahead and pick one, whichever.
Okay. I'll give it to Aldred because
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Commissioner? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Member Aldred,
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden,
I think it's a good idea, but I think it's the wrong place, so I vote no.
Member Hubbard,
Yes.
Member Estrada,
Yes.
Vice Chair Garza,
Aye.
Chairman Benedict.
With deference to Mr. Commissioner Vanderheyden, you know, it's, I get your point, but I think the synergies of the place that it's, you know, next to and, you know, and a 10-foot and then a 6, I can't kick that.
You can't
That's not saying much.
Yeah. Glad this is a short meeting, Joe. Did you hear my, aye.
I was waiting for it. I was assuming that's where you were going, but.
We're a little slow.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. Good luck with the project. Appreciate you.
Congratulations.
We look forward to your next project down that.
Restrooms.
That'll be
We need
fun to see.
restrooms.
Yeah, restrooms, get some restrooms,
I
bud.
want to see this ball.
Okay, next, we will hold a public hearing, consider forwarding recommendations to the council for request from EPS Group for a major amendment to Mission Ranch 2 planned area development. 16 acres. Jim?
All right, good evening, Planning Commissioners. So this is a request to amend the Mission Ranch 2 Planned Area Development Zone District. A little background, originally Mission Ranch 2 Planned Area Development Zone was approximately 56 acres. It had included a single-family residential neighborhood towards the east, and then closer to Peart, there was approximately 16 acres designated for office and commercial uses. Then a little over a year ago, the single-family portion of the PAD was rezoned to R2 to allow smaller single-family residential lots, leaving only 16 acres of the Mission Ranch PAD, or Mission Ranch 2 PAD remaining, currently designated for office and commercial. So the request in front of you this evening is to amend the Mission Ranch 2 PAD to allow a medium-density residential multifamily product that they are describing as rental townhomes. The applicant did provide a conceptual plan. Now, mind you, at the time of the major site plan, we'll have a better idea of the exact layout. But what's generally described here is 183 units, which would put them just shy of 12 dwelling units per acre. And the maximum height proposed for this product is 28 feet. Because townhome connotes a different definition or vision amongst different people when asked, one of the technical modifications, which wasn't included in your staff report, but updated in this presentation, is that we are asking for the applicant to provide a clear definition of the townhome product that is to be proposed within this PAD. And in addition to that, we are also asking that conceptual elevations be provided so that there's a clear idea going forward what is proposed. The applicant did provide an example of what the elevations could look like, and I do want to qualify this by indicating that these are illustrative only. At the time of the major site plan, they will provide more refined elevations, which will be part of Planning Commission's review at that time. When reviewing planned area development amendments, it's subject to this following criteria, and the staff report goes into each of these criteria in more detail, but I want to focus on these highlighted items. The first criteria deals with compatibility. So when you look at the Mission Ranch 2 PAD and the surrounding uses, you have Mission Ranch 1 PAD to the north, but it is separated by upland trail and a retention basin. So there's a pretty good distance between this planned medium-density multifamily area and that single-family neighborhood. To the south is a single-family PAD, however, it does not have certificates of assured water supply. So that means it's very unlikely that it will develop for single-family homes. It'll ultimately be rezoned probably to a higher density use such as apartments where certificates of assured water supply aren't needed. And it currently sits undeveloped, so there's very little compatibility concern in its present stage. To the west of the site, on the other side of Peart, it was recently rezoned to accommodate both commercial and high-density multifamily. And same thing, Catty Corner, it's currently part of a PAD for single-family, so that'll ultimately probably be repurposed. So the area of the most compatibility concern is the R2 neighborhood directly to the east. And what compatibility issues may arise with the multifamily development next to this single-family development. Here's a close-up image, though, and they are providing a setback of 25 feet between the proposed development and what will be the back of the lots of the single-family neighborhood. And keep in mind, the height of these buildings will be a maximum of 28. So it's similar to the maximum height allowed in the single-family neighborhood to the east. And of course, those homes will also have a rear yard setback. So staff did find that this was not an issue, especially considering there will be a perimeter wall around the site. The other criteria that I want to talk about is conformance to the city's general plan. This area sits within the neighborhoods category. Neighborhoods allows sites up to 20 acres to have high-density development up to 24 dwelling units per acre. As a medium-density residential development, a site can be up to 25 acres and have up to 12 dwelling units per acre. As this is just shy of 16 acres, it does meet that medium density definition because it does come in at just under 12 dwelling units per acre. Another aspect of the general plan that we have to look at is that within the neighborhoods category, no more than 20% of land within a half mile of medium or high density development can be other medium or high density development. And what this graphic shows is a half-mile radius around the proposed site, including the proposed site. And currently, there's a total of 8% of land used or designated for medium or high density. So it does meet that test as well. With regard to conformance to the city's zoning ordinance, as a PAD, this is a customized zone district. So there is a lot of flexibility with regard to what can be proposed. However, all residential development within PADs is subject to conformance to the 2021 residential design standards for planned area developments. And the PAD does do an assessment of all of those criteria, and it has been found to meet all of the requirements. There's, of course, at the time of the major site plan submittal, staff and planning commission will ensure that these criteria are indeed in conformance with these standards and other code requirements. The last criteria I want to talk about is the impact of the plan on the existing and anticipated traffic and parking conditions. So there was a lot of discussion about traffic to and from the site prior to their submittal, and it had been determined that there would be no direct access allowed from Peart Road. That was due to the fact of the short distance between Rodeo on the south and Upland Trail on the north. Peart Road being an arterial road, there wasn't a desire for an additional driveway or access point between those two streets. So the development's proposed primary entrance is going to be off of Upland Trail, located to the north. But to the south, there are two proposed full accesses via Rodeo Road. Rodeo Road about a year ago was reclassified to a collector, so driveway access points they're not subject to a large distance like they are with arterial roadways. At the time of the development, there would be the need for additional right-of-way dedication for both Upland, Peart Road, as well as Rodeo Road, in addition to half-street improvements to those three streets. The condition of record that's imposed on this PAD amendment is that should we need that right-of-way dedication prior to development, we would have the ability to get it. And that might come into play for, say, Peart Road, if there's development happening on the other side of Peart and this site isn't ready to develop, we would have the ability to have that half-street conveyed to us now. The existing roadway sits as a roadway easement, but it's not actually officially dedicated as public right-of-way. The third technical modification has to do with parking. As you can see on the conceptual layout, there really isn't any sort of node provided for where guest parking would be. As a conceptual plan, the intention wasn't to review it to that level of detail. However, the PAD guide itself is also silent with regard to parking. So the technical modification is the PAD guide will be updated that just simply states that on-site parking shall follow the city code for apartment uses. And the applicant has indicated that they are aware of that and in agreement to that stipulation. The notification followed the code requirements, and there were no inquiries received. Staff does recommend that Planning Commission move to forward to City Council a recommendation of approval. And there is a typo in the staff report. It says DSA 22001257. If we had 1,257 applications last year, I probably wouldn't be here right now. So it meant to say 257. An amendment of the Mission Ranch 2 PAD subject to the following updated technical modifications and the condition of record. And these basically reflect what I discussed and what was distributed to you at the outset of the meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Commissioners, questions for staff?
Chairman, I have a question. Jim, what is the city's parking requirement for multifamily or commercial? Just, I'm curious, I'm struggling a little bit with the fact that the second phase only has one way in and one way out. And
So-
if people are permitted to park along the street, that makes it even more restrictive for emergency vehicles.
So, Commissioner Garza, I believe you're asking two questions. What's the parking requirement, and what do we do about the fact that the area on the east has one way in, one way out. Because I kind of want to separate it as two issues, because those are two separate topics that I had in mind. So firstly, the parking requirement for this type of product would be 1 parking space for studio units or 1-bedroom units, and 1.75 parking spaces for units with 2 or more bedrooms. And then for every unit, for every 5 units, there would be 1 guest parking space. And that all would have to be provided on site. There wouldn't be, rodeo is not designed to have on-street parking. And there wouldn't be although technically Upland Trail's a local street, we would need to ensure that the site met its on-site parking requirement. With regard to the fact that the area to the east is shown as only having 1 point of access, the applicant is aware that for emergency purposes, there would need to be a second point of emergency ingress and egress, and they're evaluating where that could be. Just looking at this, it's possible that that leg to the right could be extended to rodeo. However, that might not meet the International Fire Code requirements for separation of the primary from the emergency. So they would have to explore other options, but really when we get into that level of review is at the time of the major site plan, which is all the more reason why, although this conceptual plan is good because it gives people an idea of what's envisioned, it's not meant to be the document that is going to lead to the actual development, because we'll get more finalized and refined reports and plans at that time.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Commissioners, other questions for staff? Okay, would the applicant or their representative come up? Give us your name and address for the record.
You bet. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. My name is Kyle Barkello. I am, address is 17470 North Pacesetter Way in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm with the entity in escrow to purchase this property, and what we're proposing here in front of you is the townhome concept. The way it really works through those conceptual elevations is that each of these units has a 2-car attached garage. So parking was a question that came up. By code, it's 1.75 spaces per 2 bedrooms, which equivalent to 320 spaces. So if you take that 183 units times the 2 parking spaces per unit, we're at 366. So we are in surplus of kind of the unit count. And this is proposed to be a mixture of 2 and 3 bedrooms. Typically, this townhome product is the 2 and 3 bedroom style of development. In terms of the access point, yeah, absolutely hear Jim on that one and understand that we have to comply with all fire codes and all engineering requirements. One of the unique things about this property, as you can tell by the concept plan, is there is that massive wash that runs through the middle of the property. And furthermore, to go back to the access point on Pure, there's a 404 massive drainage channel that runs along the frontage of Pure. So building across that means federal permitting. It means a whole slew of things. So what we've done to date is we've hired a drainage expert that has processed preliminary jurisdictional delineations. So we've done extensive engineering work to make sure that our development is cognizant of building outside of any potential issues that may arise with the drainage. With that, I'd be happy to answer any other questions the commission may have.
Commissioners?
No, you answered my question as well. Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily a parking for the residents that live there, it's their visitors.
That's
that
right.
come.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very challenging, but I think it's a great product.
Yeah.
I think they're nice.
Okay. Anything else? Very good, thank you, appreciate that. All right, open the public portion of the meeting. Anybody from the public like to address this issue? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion of the meeting, bring it back to the commission. Commissioners, discussion, motions. Wake up.
Come on in.
Here we go.
Read the whole thing there.
Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Put it there.
To move forward to City Council a recommendation of approval for DSA 2200257, an amendment to the Mission Ranch to PAD subject to the following updated technical modifications presented by staff.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Member Aldred?
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden?
Yes?
Member Hubbard?
Yes.
Member Estrada?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Garza?
Aye.
Chairman Benedict?
Yes. Thank you for being aware of the wash. We'll be looking for, I'll be looking for that in particular. That's what, big deal for this guy. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good luck with your project. Okay. Uh-oh. Lost my brain here. Okay. Now is a portion that's open to the public. Anybody from the public like to make general comments to the commission? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. Planning Director, talk to us.
So for administrative approvals, we had two. The Frito-Lay facility that's being built actually in our airport industrial park. Another little warehouse facility for them there. They did modify their plan, which you had approved, to add a security gate at the entrance. And also the new Filiberto's that's being built on Pinal, modified the plan that you had approved to modify the grading, removal of access ramp and trash enclosures. So some minor modifications to the plans that the Planning Commission had prior approved. City Council had a couple meetings since your last meeting, and they approved, it looks like 3 final plats for which you had approved the preliminary plats, and they also approved 2 PAD amendments that you had recommended that they approve. And that concludes the reports.
All right, very good. Commissioners?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I like it.
No.
Second? Any seconds?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Ooh.